humans, it's Zoe London from Pauvre Voisin, and welcome back to my silly little series where I am giving a brief synopsis of a chapter of a super duper helpful, influential, tried and true, we know that it's good wisdom self-help book in 5 minutes or less. So we're going to continue on with How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It is a really great book. Everything that it talks about in the book has nothing to do with, being manipulative, being a finesser, going out of your way to get what you can out of people. And it's a great read because of the fact that everything that Carnegie talks about simply has to do with being a kind person that other people enjoy being around. So chapter 3 in part 2 is titled, If You Don't Do This, You Are Headed for Trouble. And the principle at the end of chapter 3 is, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So, if you don't do what, you're headed for trouble? If you don't remember people's names, you're headed for trouble. So, it's very, very simple, just like every other principle in this book is, honestly. But it's really important to people to feel like they are wanted and that you value them and that you feel that they are an important person that you are engaging with, communicating with in a business sense, that you want to work with, not just because of the fact that you want to get something out of them or because of the fact that you view them as a simple means to an end of what you want, but because of the fact that you genuinely value them, you view that they are important and you view that they are a unique individual who has their own lived experience and is special to themselves. Again, the best way to make somebody feel special and to feel like you are engaging with them instead of talking at them is to call them by their name, not in that call me by your name, not in that way, but like it's really, really simple, but it's very important and it's very meaningful to a lot of people when somebody is addressing them by name, when they're communicating with them. Now, it's important to be able to remember people's names because again, a lot of us are not great at remembering people's names at first glance, right? And I've found that myself, I've fallen into this trap in the past where I've forgotten somebody's name within the first 3 minutes of speaking to them, as I think we all do. But then I'm like, oh my God, how do I tell them that I don't remember their name, right? And it's funny because again, like Carnegie, he talks about a couple of examples where people are like, oh yeah, how do you spell your name again? Like, let me just write it down. But if you're talking to somebody named like Bob and you're like, oh yeah, how do you spell your name? That's a really unique name. They're gonna be like, you forgot my name. It's Bob, it's B-O-B, right? So one thing that I've learned personally is that there's nothing wrong with in your first communication with somebody, if you forget their name, be like, wait, remind me of what your name is again, because I really don't want to forget it. And then for me personally, because again, I don't care about seeming awkward or cringy or whatever, because it's not about me. It's about making sure that the other person that I'm communicating with feels like they are genuinely valued when I'm speaking with them. Is like, they will tell me their name again and I will literally just repeat it to myself. I'll be like, okay, your name's like, I don't know, Kathy. Okay, Kathy, got it. I won't forget. And that's the kind of thing that it just makes it so much easier to, one, actually truly remember their name, two, make sure that they know that even upon first meeting them, it's important to you to remember their name, and three, again, it's way less awkward to double check what somebody's name is and be like, I'm committing this to memory, than it is to just straight up forget their name. I think there was something else in the chapter that was like something about politicians, but it was basically like something along the lines of like, for a politician, forgetting a voter's name is like career death, basically. Because again, politicians, their whole thing is they need people to like them, right? And as a politician, or in any business context, or especially in a context where like, I don't know, you're at a coffee shop and you're talking to a barista, if you treat them like they are some nameless tool for you to be able to, get your coffee, get those votes, blah, 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 who actually cares about those people? They're not gonna like you. Versus if you go out of your way to just genuinely know the person, at the very least by name, it's tremendous. What a positive impact it will have on your communications with them and on whatever form of relationship that you have with them in the future in perpetuity. So yeah, that is part 2, chapter 3. If you don't do this, i.e. if you do not take it upon yourself to make sure that you know people's names, you're totally headed for trouble. But if you do remember the names, it'll actually be a really good thing.